Hello, everybody. It is Sunday evening, which means it is time for SHL Sunday Ticket. It's Memorial Day weekend. Ready to watch some Hearthstone. I am here with Markshire this evening. Markshire, how are you doing this evening?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing good. Doing good. We have a couple exciting matches tonight, actually from the same match, Explosive Sheep versus the Doghouse. And we'll be starting off this evening with MojoPowell from Explosive Sheep versus Yellowdart in the Doghouse. Let's see. So this is a battle of the number 2 seeds for the team. Now, we already do have one match in already. Creep beat Top Hat Demon 3-2. And the Doghouse is in 3rd place in red, 4 points behind Piss. And Explosive Sheep is in 4th place in red, 8 points behind the Doghouse.
So only one match down in this series, so these players definitely both have a lot to play for. MojoPowell, I think this is his 2nd or 3rd season in the league. I know he plays in THL too. He's on the pod people. Don't know much about Yellowdart though.
Yeah, actually, I do not know much about Yellowdart myself either. I don't know if he's new to THL, SHL. So the name does not sound familiar, but anyway, so we do have the bans here ready to go. Now, MojoPowell is bringing Druid, Mage, Rogue, and Warrior, and MojoPowell has decided to ban Yellowdart's Hunter, and Yellowdart has Druid, Hunter, Paladin, and Warrior. Yellowdart has banned MojoPowell's Warrior. Any thoughts on those bans?
Yeah, so it's interesting. I would say that Hunter it's not the most popular class to bring in THL or SHL in the first place. But it's very rare to see it banned because it's not seen as one of the stronger classes at the moment. So I would guess that MojoPowell is running Jade Druid because Aggro Druid generally does okay against Hunter, but Jade Druid is definitely unfavored. And of course, some of the slower mages can also struggle with the early aggression of Hunter. And I would also guess that he's running Quest Rogue based on that ban, because I know Quest Rogue is unfavored against Midrange Hunter, whereas Miracle Rogue actually does okay against it. That matchup's about 50-50.
Okay, and on the flip side, I think for Yellowdart, I think banning that Warrior does make a lot of sense, because my guess is that his decks are probably screwing a little more towards the aggro lineup, because he has Druid, which I wouldn't be surprised is aggro Druid, Hunter, which was banned, Paladin, probably Murloc Paladin, and I wouldn't be surprised if that Warrior is Pirate Warrior, which in that case, I think the biggest issue in that lineup would be the Warrior, if that's a Taunt Warrior. So that ban does make a little bit more sense for Yellowdart, I think.
Yeah, I would not be surprised if Yellowdart is just going with the all aggro lineup, and the Warrior ban does make sense there because Taunt Warrior is generally the deck that does the best against aggro. If anyone was watching HCT earlier, I know Frozen, pretty well-known player, he went out early, going down 0-2 in Swiss, and then had to drop out. But he said some things on Twitter and talked about how he brought Taunt Warrior in his lineup, and he was complaining about the RNG nature of the hero power in that deck, but said that he had to bring Taunt Warrior because he made the prediction that his first-round opponent would be bringing aggro. So it's definitely a very popular pick if you're looking to target those aggro decks.
Absolutely is. And right now, HCT is in the final 4 right now, I believe. And I know Muzzy, who was there, I know he brought Taunt Warrior to his line. In fact, actually, I think only one of the top 4 competitors brought Pirate Warrior. So it's like Taunt Warrior is very popular, but I think the weaknesses in Taunt Warrior are starting to show more and more each week. And so it's something kind of pay attention to going forward, I think. It's not as strong as I think up front I think people think it is.
Yeah, I agree. But I do think there's a lot that you can do with that deck to tech it. Tar Creepers go in and out of that list. They're really good against aggro, but against the mirror or other controlling decks, they just don't offer that much value. So there's a lot of options you can do with that.
All right, so it looks like the match has begun here. So it looks like Yellow Dart is leading off with the Druid, and as we predicted that the Druid is aggro Druid or aggro token Druid, whereas actually it looks like MojoPowell is bringing Secret Mage. We haven't seen a Cabal Lackey, actually probably a little older version of Secret Mage.
Yeah, Cabal Lackey is an interesting card. When Secret Mage first started getting experimented with, it was really popular because the synergy is obviously there. If you have the secret, you can get it out on turn 1. And I would say it's making its way into its lists a little bit now. People are cutting Babbling Book for it. Cabal Lackey just offers much more board presence immediately on turn 1. But yeah, an interesting inclusion there.
Well, we see the beginning here, and we see Yellow Dart has done the one thing you never really want to do, which is draw your patches. That was his first draw. Probably fine in this type of deck because you do have Savage Roar, so sometimes it can just be 4 points of damage out of nowhere, but probably not the ideal.
Yeah, I mean, you never really want to draw patches here, and MojoPowell, he's just going to pass here. He doesn't want to play that Cabal Lackey. I think he's waiting to get more value out of it when it draws a secret, and that's kind of the downside of that card. You know, it's just a 1-mana 2/1 if you don't have a secret in hand.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's looking rough for MojoPowell right now because it looks like he has 2 things that allow him to play a secret for free, but no secret in hand yet.
Yeah, it's really awkward when you get these hands with Secret Mage where you have these cards like Medivh's Valet and Curantor and Cabal Crystal Runner, which really rely on having secrets to be good, and he just has none of them. Yellow Dart's hand is also looking sort of awkward. You really don't want to see double Innervate right now because he has nothing to pair it with. No Bittertide Hydra, no Fledgling or Finja.
So it looks like he's just going to Hero Power and hit face. I wouldn't be surprised if he drops patches, though maybe with the Mage. Okay, yeah, he's going to pass. The Mage Hero Power can just pick that off, so.
Yeah, I think he's just going to try to save his Innervates for maybe a big swing turn when he can get some 5-mana minion out, or maybe accumulate even more resources to get a bigger tempo swing.
All right, so we see MojoPowell just playing the tempo Curantor Mage just to get the 4/3 on the field, which does contest the field relatively well here.
Yeah, I think it's really good to just play this 4/3 here. You can't just save all your secret cards and hope that you'll draw a secret.
And Yellow Dart looks like it's picked up a Galactic Crawler. He's decided what to do this turn. I mean, Galactic Crawler is not a bad option, though it will get just immediately killed by the Curantor Mage. I guess another option could be just to play Patches and Savage Roar and just kill the Curantor Mage and push 8 to face.
Yeah, you could do that. You could even innervate Hero Power out to kill the Curantor with your face and preserve that Patches on board, and go ahead and innervate out the Galactic Crawler. It's a really all-in play, but I'm not sure what else Yellow Dart's going to do with these innervates.
All right, so it looks like he is going to take that route, and actually he's wanting to. Oh, okay. It looks like he may actually innervate out the Galactic Crawler and just get a 3/4 on the field too.
It makes sense to get the Crawler on the board here, but I'm really not sure why he didn't just innervate Hero Power and preserve his 1/2 on the board, because I really don't think innervate is getting much better.
I don't think so either. No, it's like because now his hand is just innervate with nothing else. Where MojoPowell has a grip full right now of cards. So
yeah, and MojoPowell here, he's looking at that Fireball, and yeah, I think you just Fireball down the 3/4 here. There aren't that many other better targets for it. It can be used to kill Bittertide Hydra if Yellow Dart is using that version of the list, but you'd have to pair 2 more damage with that. Most of aggro Druid's minions are very small, and Fireball's going to be overkill, so yeah, he just goes with that option here.
Seems reasonable there. So I don't see another play for this turn, so I mean, he may just throw a Cabal Lackey out now for value, but it looks like he's just going to go and pass. Bloodsail Corsair, I mean, he can toss it out there, but it's not probably going to do a lot. Patches is gone, so.
Yeah, really unfortunate to draw the Corsair after your Patches. But I think he just has to throw it out there and hero power face, and then I guess he's just hoping to top deck Living Mana or one of his other finishers in the next couple turns, because this game is slowly slipping away for Yellow Dart.
It is, yeah. The longer this game goes, the worse and worse it's going to get for Yellow Dart, and so he needs to at least establish some form of a board presence right now. So, all right, so yeah, it's going to hero power, go face. Then MojoPowell is going to start the turn with 5 mana. He did get a Frostbolt, so he could just kill one of these 2 right now. Keep the board small. It wouldn't be surprising, and maybe even just play the Medivh Valet just for tempo at this point.
Yeah, I really like playing the Valet for tempo here. 2-3 contest the 1-2s very well, and I really would like to see him get the Lackey out. Well, I guess you don't get the Lackey out because it just dies to hero power, but Lackey really isn't getting that much better. Okay, so it looks like Yellow Dart's just drawing Mark of Usarge. He doesn't have a beast, so he won't get the draw value on it, but he can at least kill the Medivh Valet with the Firefly. Yeah, and this is a tough decision. He needs to mark here to preserve some of his board, but at the same time, not getting that draw is so rough.
So let's see. He's gonna hero power, go face. I'll show her push the 1 in there. So, okay, well, interesting. I don't know if I've seen a list yet running a natural potion of polymorph, but we do have one here from MojoPowell.
Yeah, Potion of Polymorph is definitely one of the more unusual choices, but it can be pretty good. It's particularly good against Quest Rogue. You can prevent their quest from getting completed, because if they play a minion and it gets polymorphed, it doesn't count for their quest. But MojoPowell isn't going up against Rogue, so I'm not sure what he's hoping to hit with Potion of Polymorph.
Well, Yellow Dart just got an interesting option. He just got Living Mana. I don't know why he innovated, because he's not going to get additional... I guess he'll get 6 mana, or he would have gotten 7 either way, so I don't know why that innovate doesn't make a lot of sense to me, but yeah, he will get the Living Mana.
About the interaction there, because if he had hero powered first, he still would have gotten the full 6 treants. But I mean, it's not like he's going to miss that innervate, really. Well, actually, no, he could if he top decks Savage Roar or something. So yeah, that's I'm really not sure why he chose to do that.
Okay, so it looks like here that MojoPowell will try to Firelance Portal one of these down, and then kill another, and then... Unfortunately, he's still dead to a couple cards here. He's, and that's not one of them. Let's see, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Yeah, he's still a couple short here before lethal.
Yeah, I mean, Yellow Dart has no choice but to just play the Corsair out here, and I wonder if he'll trade or just try to go all face here. Now he knows that that secret is an ice block, so he might just try to pressure here and not play around Flame Strike.
I think that's the reasonable play here, is like it'll get him down to 2, I believe, or 3.
Get him down to 3, and he has the read that MojoPowell doesn't have a board clear at hand because he would have played it last turn. So I really like this play from Yellow Dart here. You don't really care about taking the 9 from what's on MojoPowell's board either, because you're at 33.
All right, so MojoPowell did pick up the Arcanologist, so he will draw a secret here. The question is, Spellbender is not a helpful secret at this point. So it looks like at this point, this will be game. I don't see, and yeah, MojoPowell does give it up. So it's amazing that most of the game he was behind, but then one Living Mana can turn the game around like that.
Yeah, a couple things there. First of all, MojoPowell is running Pyroblast, and that is usually a card that is paired with Ice Block. So I think he did have a chance to draw the Ice Block from his deck there. But also, I really disagree with conceding. I think that you play the secret and push face, and there is a chance that Yellow Dart thinks that it's Ice Block and might trade to try to prevent lethal from, say, double Fireball next turn.
Sure.
Maybe it wouldn't have exactly worked out that way, but I think if you have a secret up, you may as well try to bluff.
Yeah, that's true. It's like, yeah, at least making your opponent think that is a ice block or ice barrier or something along those lines. All right, so we're getting to game number 2. We of course know that Yellow Dart will be sticking with the Druid, but it looks like MojoPowell is also going to his Druid. And MojoPowell does appear to have the Jade Druid.
Yeah, and this is a matchup that intuitively it feels like it should be really favored for the aggro druid here, because Jade Druid generally struggles with that. But if you look at the Vicious Syndicate data, it's actually about 50-50. The druid just has so much heal, and if they end up getting to turn 8, they usually run Primordial Drake, which just completely shuts down the aggro druid.
All right, so yeah, and I would. Oh wow, Yellow Dart's having bad luck with his patches this evening. He has drawn it again.
That's definitely not what you want to see. On the upside, he does have Galaka Crawler, so you know it's not the worst thing ever. You can turn that patches into a buff for his 2-drop there.
All right, so it looks like MojoPowell will just do the tempo 1/1 and start buffing his druid. Now he did pick up Jade Blossom, so I'm assuming turn 2 will be a coined out Jade Blossom. Get his mana ramp going. So
yeah, it makes sense. It curves into Jade Spirit too. Yellow Dart here. Firefly's a really nice pickup, and now he can just put 2 1/2s onto the board.
I say, and he can even put that Divine Shielded Argent Squire into the Jade. And as you mentioned, the MojoPowell did draw the Primordial Drake here. So yeah, we're gonna see this coined out Jade Blossom here, and which will probably lead into a turn 4 Jade Spirit unless he picks up something really good. Now, Yellow Dart actually picked up Tar Creeper, which is a little bit interesting.
Yeah, now this is a really cool card because it's pretty much a defensive card, right? It only has 1 attack power in an aggro deck, but I really like it in aggro druid. I've been playing with it a decent amount recently, and as you see here, it protects your small minions. So like there, MojoPowell wasn't able to trade his 2/2 into the 1/2, and now that's another body on the board for a possible Savage Roar. So I think it complements aggro druid very nicely, and I like the inclusion from Yellow Dart.
Yeah, unless MojoPowell did drop the Jade Spirit last turn, but Yellow Dart got a very interesting card here in Vicious Fledgling. This is a card that, if unchecked, it can definitely take over a match here. And right now, until turn 8 or 7 at the very least, I don't see an answer to this Vicious Fledgling in hand.
Yeah, and he does have the Tar Creeper right now to protect it. But if he does play the Fledgling and doesn't Savage Roar, then his Tar Creeper can be traded into pretty easily. I wonder if he wants to go for Patch's Savage Roar instead to try to play for the board a little bit. He chooses to not go for that and goes for the Fledgling, but I think that with this play, there's a pretty decent chance your Fledgling just gets cleared. You can't take any good value trades. No,
you can't. It's like you have to go 2 of your creatures. The only way to do it is at least kill one of these things here, and that's what Yellow Dart does decide. So now, well, actually, MojoPowell just picked up the exact same card, Tar Creeper, so now it's going to be really tough for the Yellow Dart to get that Vicious Fledgling through.
Yeah, really nice pickup from MojoPowell there. And Yellow Dart does actually have a way to get the Fledgling to hit face with Savage Roar, and he probably wants to accompany. Let's see, does he want to use Patches or Hero Power here? I think he just wants to Hero Power, right?
Hero Power, yeah, I think he wants to Hero Power Savage Roar here. That's a clean trade on it, and then he'll at least get to hit the Vicious Fledgling face, and hope for Wind Fury probably as the first pickup.
Now, something that I just noticed in MojoPowell's hand is this Ancient of War. You really don't see that card often in Jade Druid at all, but it can be a very powerful card against aggro decks.
Absolutely. It's like, and I'm wondering, because the times I've seen Ancient War is also cutting back on a Primordial Drake, so I'm wondering if he's running 1 Ancient War, 1 Primordial Drake instead of running both Primordial Drakes, which also makes me think, does he have Curator in this deck?
Yeah, that's definitely possible. That would be interesting to see. Yellow Dart picks up a swipe here, and I think that's exactly what he needs to clear the board. I think he's just going to want to swipe the 4/4, but of course you attack with a Vicious Fledgling to the face first. Okay,
so let's see. He has some interesting options here. Can be targeted by spells or hero powers. Does help unless there's a 4/4 on the field, which there is. So yeah, he's going to play the Galactic Crawler. Unfortunately, MojoPowell has 2 different options here. He can play Ancient of War and just throw a big butt creature in front of it, or use his hero power and just kill it as well, which it looks like he's going with Ancient of War.
Yeah, I like playing the War here because, it's just so hard for the aggro druid to get by that 5/10 body. You don't really want to hero power and use 2 mana because MojoPowell doesn't have anything else to pair with it. So this is really nice and puts him in a pretty commanding position in this game. Yellowdart can play some minions out here, but he's not going to be able to get through the Ancient War this turn.
No, he's not. It's like, is this a situation, because I know you're going into turn 8, I don't think this is a situation where you necessarily dump your hand, but at the same time, 2 of the 3 minions you're holding right now are 3 toughness minions. So even if you know the Drake is coming, then, I mean,
yeah,
at that point, do you care?
Yeah, I think Yellowdart just has to go ahead and dump his hand because if MojoPowell does have Primordial Drake and he holds back, then the game is still basically over. You can't really beat the 5/10 and a 4/8 at all as Jade Druid. So I would like to see him just play out. And he's playing to his out here, which is his opponent not having Primordial Drake. And he has a slight chance to win there if that doesn't happen.
But unfortunately, we know for a fact MojoPowell is already holding. Actually, it looks like he may go with a different line here. He's going
Gadgets and Wrath is really nice here as well.
Yeah, it is actually. Yeah, this does, because it'll kill the fledgling, draw a card, and then you can use the Ancient of War to finish off the Galactic Crawler, and then just push 2 to the face here. So yeah, that's an excellent line from MojoPowell there.
Yeah, really nice play there. And this preserves the Primordial Drake for living mana in case Yellowdart ends up drawing that.
He's going to play Patches here. I thought he might do Patches Markshire to get it out without him having to hit his face, but that doesn't appear to be the play here. He's going to Earthen Scales the Gajazan. Now, does he have lethal with that?
That's actually just lethal with that Barrel Rage pickup. So MojoPowell is going to take this game.
Did he miscalculate there? He needed to swipe, not hero power.
Yeah, using Feral Rage offensively and swipe was definitely lethal there. That was 1 over, I believe.
It was, yeah. It's like, well, Yellowdart's going to toss this one out. Only Firefly, he's pretty much dead next turn either way. So we know now that MojoPowell will be continuing with his Druid. That does move the series to 1-1. So Druid's gone, Hunter's banned. What do you lead into this deck here? My guess is probably the Warrior, if it's Pirate Warrior, but I'm not 100% certain on that.
I think he will opt to go with this Paladin. Again, if we're assuming that he has gone that aggressive route and is bringing Murloc Paladin, I think Murloc Paladin generally has a better matchup than Pirate Warrior against Jade Druid, especially if you're running cards like Spike Rig Steed. The Druid just has no way to deal with the big minions after they have to try to answer the early Murloc aggression.
All right, so we're getting back into the match here, and you're correct. He will be leading in with the Paladin here. And let's see. Well, we see an Eater of Secrets, which they must have been planning this for the Mage matchup. But actually, I can't tell a whole lot from this hand because all these cards are in Murloc as well. So maybe off the mulligan we'll figure out if this is definitively Murloc or... Yes, okay, now we can definitely say this is Murloc Paladin.
Yep, looks like it. And Yellowdart has a pretty nice curve here. It looks like I think depending on what he draws, I think he just wants to play the Tidecaller here. I
think so. I think get the Tidecaller out. What is he? He's holding that coin. He's actually going to go to the Hydrologist, which I guess doesn't really make any sense because he can still use MojoPowell can use the hero power and kill it at this point, which he's been able to do the same thing with the Murloc Tidecaller as well.
So this is interesting. So yeah, this way he's planning to go Tidecaller, Noble Sack next turn, and this does sort of force your opponent to use their hero power. So an interesting line here, but I think it works out for him. The only problem is this means that his Tidecaller can be easily killed off with a Wrath, and then he'll have nothing for War Leader to buff next turn.
All right, so as you predicted, Yellowdart is going to do the War Leader, but unfortunately, he doesn't even have to swing into it because the Tar Creeper is there waiting for him. He has a couple of different options here. He could just go with the Murloc War Leader, which would push it to a 4/4, or use the Rockpool Hunter and make it a 3/3.
Yeah, I like going with the Rockpool Hunter here, I think. You don't need to throw your Murloc War Leader out to get removed quite yet. I think this is enough pressure.
All right, so it looks like MojoPowell's going to go with the Feral Rage, and is he going? I think he may be going. He's going to send in the Tar Creeper face to trigger the Noble Sack, and then he will use his face to kill the Murloc War Leader.
Yep, this is correct ordering by MojoPowell, and now yellowdart here, he can just Megasaur on curve and try to get a +1/+1 adapt, but I sort of like War Leader because it gives you a more consistent way to get through that Tar Creeper.
It is, and it's like, and you will lose the Rockpool Hunter, but you just did draw the Bluegill Warrior, so if the War Leader doesn't get answered next turn, then you have a 4/2 Charger coming back. Actually, well, no, I apologize. No, it'll stay around. That's perfect, actually.
Yeah, this is really nice, and we don't see any removal for the War Leader in MojoPowell's here. In MojoPowell's hand, sorry. So it looks like he wants to nourish here, and if he's nourishing, I'd really like to see him nourish for mana crystals. You don't need to draw more cards in this position, but yeah, and he does go for the mana here. This sets up for Primordial Drake or Ancient War next turn, or even Eye of Hero Power if he wants to. It's really strong.
Yeah, so there's a lot of good things here, because now if he throws the Bluegill Warrior out there, it will die to the Primordial Drake, and if it's Ancient of War, then everything dies to the Ancient of War, essentially. There's nothing... He might be looking at that Repentance.
Yeah, Repentance is a great answer to a big taunt like Primordial Drake or Ancient of War. Getaway Kodo is also good because the War Leader would most likely be the minion that dies first, and he wants to get that into his hand. But I can definitely see why Repentance would be good here.
So yeah, I think both those are valid options. The only one I don't think is a valid option for him is the Redemption, at least not right now. If he's holding Tyrion, I can maybe make an argument for it, but he's going to play that out, and it looks like he's also going to play the Bluegill Warrior for it to go straight to face. Alright. So MojoPowell has a couple interesting options. It looks like he is going to go with the Ancient of War here, which he's going to get a little punished for it, but not terribly. And then Earthen Scales to move that up to 2 mana.
Yeah, I really like that Ancient of War here, and I think it's actually better than the Primordial Drake. And it sort of plays around Repentance because you really want your Primordial Drake to be the one that ends up sticking with more health, because it'll happen after a board clear.
Correct, yeah. And then yellowdart just uses his Consecration to clear the board, and he will be pushing 11 to face, putting MojoPowell at 9. I think this is definitively the Primordial Drake turn here.
Yep, yeah, pretty much the only play that he can make here, and I think he is going to go ahead and throw out this Jade Idol just to get his 2/2 on the board.
Alright, so there are a couple interesting options. Yeah, he can Gentle Megasaur and try to hope for Poisonous. Seems like the most reasonable
Poisonous, attack, there's a lot of really good things that you can get from Megasaur. Interesting. I think you definitely do play the second Grimscale Chum before you adapt here. There's no real downside to just emptying your hand because you do have Divine Favor.
All right, so he did get the 3+ attack, so my guess is that would be the option because that will allow him to get through this the easiest, at least.
There's also some merit to just taking the health here because Druid really has difficulty dealing with wide boards. But yeah, the attack is, of course, also extremely strong. It lets you completely kill off this Primordial Drake, and you have a lot of damage.
All right, and then, unfortunately for him, MojoPowell does have another taunt, but actually, if he does nothing else this turn, that... I don't know. I don't know about face taking a 5/1, but all right.
No, face taking a 5/1 I think is really correct here. You don't really want that. You don't want it to get traded into. And in fact, if he had not killed that 5/1, he would have been dead, I believe.
All right. So yellowdart equips the weapon as well as does Divine Favor, gets a couple additional cards here. He will be able to clear that part, but the Gentle Megasaur is as good as dead for this turn. And actually, MojoPowell has an interesting line here. You can do Eye of Black Pearl and then swipe the face to clear it. Which it looks like he's definitely swiping face at least.
Yeah, and I mean, swipe is a really powerful removal tool to deal with wide boards, but I do like swiping face here just to preserve your 3/3 on the board. You really are going to have to end this game quickly against the Paladin because you're at such a low life total.
Well, actually, it looks like he maybe just... Oh, actually, he's just going to use his 3/3 to get in, and then hero power and move his health back up to 6 here. Now, he does have a couple Murlocs here that he could play. He could play the War Leader and then play the Cold Light Seer behind it, if he would like. Or he could play one of them and hope for anything like Taunt or something like that to go with it, though that doesn't seem like the best use of resources.
Yeah, Yellowdart is 1 mana off a really nice play here. So he's either going to have to just wait a turn or just play 1 Murloc and adapt it. And I think you just have to go ahead and adapt Murloc here. Getting something like Stealth or even 2 1/1 plants can be really strong here, because it should allow Yellowdart to win the game next turn. That is, if he gets exactly Stealth off the adapt.
Yeah, it's like if he gets Stealth, but it looks like he may also... Okay, so he's going to Hero Power, Cold Light Seer, and it looks like do the Gentle Megasaur here for this. So let's see his options. Well, there is Stealth there, so...
So I actually did miscount. He would have been 1 damage off because of the heal with MojoPowell. That's assuming that the rest of the board gets cleared. So he's going to choose to just kill the 4/4 here, and I really do think that's correct.
For MojoPowell, it looks like this is a nice turn to... actually, I think I would probably play the Gadget and Auctioneer first, wouldn't I, to get an additional draw out of it?
Yeah, MojoPowell just wants to get this extra point of heal from the hero power here, but I agree with the Gadgetzin. You cycle through your deck in hopes of finding another heal or taunt, and also get a 4/4 on the board.
Alright, so for Yellowdart here, he does have the Murloc War Leader. He could trade into the Eye of Black Pearl, but I believe that will make a 5/5, because the last one was a 4/4.
Yeah, he's just gonna have to War Leader and push face, and that sort of makes you question the play of killing the 4/4 Jade next turn, because he actually could have had lethal if he did not make that hit and instead saved it or pushed face with the True Silver last turn.
Correct. So now MojoPowell can play the Gadget Hand Auctioneer, and he can even go for... He can either cycle or he can just do the 3 damage. My guess is he will do the 3 damage here. And he will innervate. And let's see. It looks like he can trade in or push Aya into the Cold Light Seer. And then... Okay, it looks like... Yeah, he's just going to use that. So let's think about Yellowdart's outs here. He's dead to... or... that's not the one of the outs. I think one of the few outs would have been another True Silver champion.
Yeah, second True Silver would have ended the game immediately. I believe that was the only direct damage he can do. He also has a second Consecration in his deck, most likely, especially because he's running Equality, but that would have been 1 off. And this is really awkward for Yellowdart now. I think you do just play the Cold Light Seer as a 2/3 here.
I definitely agree. I think you just toss it out there, and you realize MojoPowell's on the back foot. Basically, he has to kill every threat that comes out. He cannot let a threat stand. So if you put it out there, then at least it's threatening something.
So Equality first does prevent a value trade for the gadgets, and so it does make sense. It makes him more susceptible for a big taunt down the line, but I think Yellowdart has correctly recognized that he can't really play around his opponent getting a taunt here. And unfortunately for him, MojoPowell does pick up the Jade Behemoth.
Yeah, I think MojoPowell has stabilized it. Well, there's the Consecration, but unfortunately he's going to be 1 damage off from killing MojoPowell, and unfortunately I think that's probably how this game is going to end, is 1 point of damage off.
Yeah, and if he had saved that Equality, he could have gone Equality Consecrate on this board. So unfortunate for Yellowdart. As casters, of course, we can see both hands, so we can generally see what is the correct play. But I feel like he could have made a couple different plays down the stretch there, possibly holding the Equality, or maybe not swinging that True Silver into the 4/4.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think with MojoPowell only having 2 cards in hand, and it would have been a lot harder for him to reload here. So All right, so MojoPowell did pick up a second one with the druid, which means Yellow Dart is just left with his warrior now. Which, given his lineup so far, I'm assuming this warrior is going to be a pirate warrior, but I've seen weirder things.
Yeah, I would assume if it's Taunt Warrior, he's in for a pretty rough time. Taunt Warrior does not do well against Shade Druid. So yeah, I definitely expect to see a Pirate Warrior here from Yellow Dart.
All right, so MojoPowell is ahead 2-1. MojoPowell wins this. He will pretty evenly tie up the match, I believe, here. Actually, it'll be a 3-1. So actually, it'll move the match between Explosive Sheep and the Doghouse relatively close here. Whoa! Okay, what in the world is Yellow Dart doing here?
I am just getting to the match now. And wow, okay, so this is
Control Warrior?
N'Zoth Warrior, but also running I Know a Guy for some reason. So I'm going to go ahead and guess that I don't know what deck Yellow Dart is playing, but it's probably not going to be favored against Jade Druid here.
No, it's like, because at least Quest Warrior, you at least get to the point where you at least have a Ragnaros for a hero power. What's the end game here besides just a bunch of big taunts? So, MojoPowell leads out with Jade Idol, and fortunately this hand's a little awkward for Yellow Dart, so he's just going to hero power here and keep going.
I can see him just playing the Pyromancer for tempo there, because really the thing that the Warrior has to do in this matchup is just to try to out-tempo the Jade Druid and force them to use their resources early so they can't refill with gadgets and down the line and have really big turns.
But Yellow Dart does have the easy answer here, and with the Ravaging Ghoul, so that might have been the reason to hold off on it. But MojoPowell does have the Wrath to. I'm assuming he's going to kill it and not cycle, and he does.
Yeah, seeing the Ravaging Ghoul, MojoPowell does know that Yellow Dart is going to be running, or he can assume Yellow Dart is running some sort of control deck. He may not know that it isn't Taunt Warrior yet, but some sort of control deck. And cycling Wrath against control is usually very strong, but I think Wrathing to kill that is just fine. I'm really surprised that MojoPowell chose to shuffle his Jade Idol there, though.
Well, he did play the first one on turn 1. So I don't know if that would.
You're right, I missed that.
It's like I think that's the reason why he probably went ahead and shuffled that second one in.
Sorry, I thought that was his first Jade Idol. So that makes more sense. I still think it's correct to hold it for a Gadgetzan turn down the line. But
that I definitely agree with is to hold it for Gadgetzan Auctioneer, so that way you can start using it as a cheat spell to go through your deck. So, well. The good news here for Yellow Dart is he just did get an easy answer to the 2/2. Unfortunately, Aya is still there.
Yeah, this is difficult. He can use War Axe to take down part of the Aya, but I'm not really seeing a good way to actually clear the board here.
Yeah, I'm not either. It's like, I mean, theoretically, I guess he could Ravaging Ghoul sleep with the fishes, but that also takes 4 health off of his own creature as well. So, alright, looks like he's just going to use the Direhorn Hatchling to kill the Jade Golem, and then he's going to use Noah Guy.
Oh, Stonehill's a really good pickup off of that. Fits in his mana curve too, because he can fit in the War Axe and the Stonehill in the same turn.
And then he goes with the Sunwalker, of course, 4/5 Divine, or 4/5 Divine Shield Taunt. Not a bad pickup there for him, but...
Yeah, he picked it pretty quickly, so I don't really remember what the other options were, but it's definitely a solid minion that the Druid could struggle to deal with.
MojoPowell does have the swipe, so he'll be able to kill the Direhorn Hatchling and kill the Stonehill Defender here, while leaving the 3/2 Jade Golem on the battlefield.
Yeah,
unfortunately, it's just going to get killed by the axe, but...
Yeah, now it is important to note that Yellow Dart does have N'Zoth in his hand now, so if he can play it on curve in turn 10, that could definitely swing the game. I believe the only Death Rattle played so far has been the Direhorn Hatchling.
That is correct, yeah, that's the only one so far that I've seen is Direhorn. MojoPowell did draw the Nourish. I'm assuming he's going to reload here, get 3 more cards, and then... Well, he does have the innervate, so he can innervate out the Jade, or the Jade Golem. I was going to say the Jade Blossom and mana ramp a little bit more, but it's going to do the Jade Golem here, which makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, this is good. He's just getting the most stats possible onto the board right now. He doesn't really need to ramp too much right now. He already has a lot of mana.
Now, interesting option here. Now, Ravaging Ghoul, Sleep with the Fishes will wipe MojoPowell's board, but keep a 6/1 taunt on the battlefield.
Yeah, I would say it's probably not worth it to go for that combo just yet. Just
Probably
playing
not.
the Sunwalker here seems pretty good. You could Sunwalker and trade into the 2/3, and if you really want to, you could play Blood to Ichor just to get that 2/2 onto the board.
Well, he is holding over the Ravaging Ghoul here, so it'll be interesting to see what he does. I think I agree. Just for a 2/3 and a 4/4, I don't think that's enough value for this at this point. But he may also, okay, seem to go with the Sunwalker here as well. So my guess is he'll probably kill the 2/3, or he's just gonna go face.
This is actually fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do need to pressure the Jade Druid in this matchup, so I think this is okay to just go face here and force the Druid to react to your board. Gadgetzon's a huge pickup for MojoPowell here, though. But actually, wait, no, he doesn't want to play it this turn, even though his hand is full of spells.
Yeah, it's like I think I would probably hold off on one turn, just do Jade Blossom. That will get you to 10 next turn, and then you can Wild Growth. Get an Auctioneer Wild Growth the next turn.
Yeah, I definitely agree with saving the Gadgetzon there. This is pretty good, and MojoPowell is starting to build a formidable board of Jade Golems.
Now, the one card we have not seen from yellowdart yet is Brawl. And I'm assuming there's a Brawl somewhere in here, given this is a slow deck. But admittedly, I did not expect to see ends off Control Warrior either. So,
Yeah, I mean, there really could be anything in this deck here. Yellowdart, I would assume he goes for the Alley Armorsmith, unless he really wants that lower mana cost of the Stegodon to fit in something else. But Alley Armorsmith definitely offers the most value right now.
yeah, and he agrees, so he will take that. And then he pushed face last time. I don't see why he would not push face here. He's like, just because. He's like, yeah, he's actually got a decent board himself as well here now. But unfortunately for him, MojoPowell's board is going to keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and
yeah, I mean, Jade Behemoth Swipe is pretty strong. This is a pretty complicated board to deal with. I'm not sure if swiping the 1/4 was actually optimal there, but it does give him a clear, so I can't fault him too much for that play.
well, there are a couple of different options that he could do here. I mean, he can just play Sleep with the Fishes right now, and he'll clean off 3 of these. If he does Ravaging Ghoul first, and then he could even dual Sleep with the Fishes, and that would be a clean board wipe.
Yeah, going for the full board clear is pretty tempting here. You still have the Execute in hand for like a single big Jade that your opponent has. And, you know, Yellowdart can't really afford to assume that his opponent has multiple Jade cards in hand for next turn. He's already really far behind.
He's going to do Sleep with the Fishes. And I don't know if this interaction works, because it's going to do those first, and then... Yeah, so I don't know if I like this play. I think I prefer the other play, which would be a clean board clear, but...
Yeah, this is interesting. So he uses the Execute here, and he does keep the combo of Ravaging Ghoul, Sleep with the Fishes in hand, but from this point forward, your opponent doesn't have that many minions with 4 health. Of course, I say that as Gadgetzon comes onto the board, but as the game goes on and MojoPowell gets his Jades bigger, you know, they're going to be 8/8s and 9/9s. And Execute is able to actually answer those, whereas Sleep with the Fishes isn't going to do anything.
Well, MojoPowell just picked up an Innervate, which is huge here, and it'll continue to allow him to start drawing through his deck. He also picked up a Jade Idol. Wow, he's actually gonna get through his deck. He's gonna get through a good portion of his deck right here, right now. So, Earth Scales will go up to 9.
Yeah, these are some really nice cheap spells that MojoPowell is picking up. Yeah, and he's building up a strong board, and we don't see a Brawl or any other good answer in Yellowdart's hand right now.
No, it's like we don't. It's like right now the Ravaging Ghoul Sleep with the Fishes just looks hilarious compared to a 9/9.
Right. He can do it now and clear the Gadgetzin off, which will attempt to stop the bleeding. And playing the Dire Horn here will give him another Death Rattle for N'Zoth, but I don't think that just getting 2/3/6s back from N'Zoth is going to be enough to end this game.
I don't think so either. He has 17 cards in deck. I'm assuming a Karen Bloodhoof is somewhere in here if he's playing N'Zoth. But what other things could he even be playing right now that would make sense for this?
Yeah, let's think about that. I'm not really sure. I mean, I think that the Zoth decks aren't really in the meta for a reason. There aren't that many options. I mean, maybe Infested Tauren?
Possibly. It's like, I mean, I've seen N'Zoth Paladin, but that also has Tyrion and it has a bunch of other nice death rattles. What death rattles does Warrior have? It's like,
yeah, I would say that Tyrion's a pretty big part of why that deck is in the meta. Not much you can do with Warrior, unfortunately. And MojoPowell just continues to build up these huge boards that yellowdart continues to not have an answer for.
well, yellowdart did get a Direhorn Matriarch, but the problem is there's a 10/10 on the battlefield and he's got both Direhorn Matriarchs. Well, I mean, this will help a little bit, but he can do that and do the Armor Smith, but that's still nowhere near. He'll get one armor, and even if MojoPowell pushes face on the rest, it's still not great for him.
Yeah, MojoPowell, he was hovering over Nourish there, and he could draw the rest of his entire deck. I haven't really been counting. Do you know how many Jade Idols he has left right now, besides the one in his hand?
I believe one of these last 3 cards is also a Jade Idol, but I could be wrong on that.
And he's just gonna shuffle first. And shuffling first and then nourishing is a pretty decent play here.
I would say I've only seen one Gadgetzin Auctioneer, so I'm assuming one of the 2 cards, or one of those last 3 cards before he shuffled in. So now one of the 6 cards is the second Gadgetzin Auctioneer as well. But
that seems likely, but it's possible that he cut one Gadgetzin to make space for the Ancient of War, because we do see double Primordial Drake in hand right now for MojoPowell, so we know he didn't cut a Drake for the Ancient of War. So it could be possible that he only went with one Gadgetzin to opt for a more anti-aggro approach for his Druid.
Could be. It's like, unfortunately, I believe, just with us on board, regardless of what he plays, I think yellowdart is dead.
Yeah, unfortunately, he is just dead on board, even if he kills off this Tar Creeper here. That still doesn't change anything, so yeah, MojoPowell is going to finish the series off here.
Let's see, so it'd be 21 with 22, yeah, so yeah, he's 1 and dead. So MojoPowell will take this match 3-1. Basically, his Druid took him the entire way after he lost with his mage. So anything besides the obvious what in the world was going on with that warrior deck question, any surprises in that match?
Overall, I think I was just surprised that Jade Druid swept. It's obviously a very powerful deck, but I think that if anything, yellowdart was bringing a lineup that could beat it. Well, except for the Warrior.
Right.
But the other decks, I think, match up very well against the aggro Druid, or at least that was his plan. Match up well against the Jade Druid, but that did not happen.
Well, see, that's the other interesting thing, too, is because he knew he was bringing Warrior, he was bringing a Warrior deck, why would you not ban the Druid if you knew you were bringing Control Warrior, which is the other interesting question that, because I would think if I knew that I was bringing a Taunt Warrior and there was a Druid on the other side, I would really strongly consider banning that Druid in Last Hero Standing.
Yeah, I'm definitely confused by that ban there. It just, that Warrior deck, aside from being off meta, it just it just doesn't really fit in with the strategy of the rest of his lineup. But oh well. I mean, I can't really fault Yellow Dart. I don't want to discourage creativity here.
No, definitely not. No, it's definitely a very interesting deck. So, let's go ahead and move into our second match, which is a battle of the 3 seeds between Explosive Sheep and the Doghouse, which is Bitbeaker and Chaonic.
I think.
Chaonic, yeah, Chaonic. Bitbeaker, of course, been around the league for a while. Was a host of After the Salt Settles, and he's been around for a while here. So, Chaonic, I'll be honest, I do not know a whole lot about Chaonic.
Yeah, I also have not heard of him, but this should be a good match. So the bans are in. Bitbeaker has banned Chaonic's Paladin, and Chaonic has banned Bitbeaker's Shaman.
Which is interesting on the Shaman ban, I think, a little bit, because, well, I guess it depends on what type of Shaman he thinks that is, because his remaining decks are Druid, Mage, and Warrior.
Yeah.
If it's a control Shaman, I can almost see where, because the value that you get from Spirit Echo and stuff like that may not be something he just wants to deal with in this matchup.
Yeah, it's possible that he is running an aggro lineup, maybe a more aggressive Secret Mage and aggro Druid and Pirate Warrior. Control Shaman generally does well against that, and so does Token Shaman. That's an interesting deck that's gotten a lot more popular in the past week or so. I think there's a good chance that Bitbeaker has brought that, and Chaonic wants to avoid that matchup because Token Shaman generally does well against other aggro decks.
Yeah, it's like, because it does have access to Maelstrom Portal, which is just a nice board clear for a lot of the aggro decks, depending on which totem you roll, as well as they may even be running Lightning Storm on top of it, which again is pretty much a full board clear on that. So looking at Bitbeaker's remaining lineup, Bitbeaker is bringing Priest. I'm guessing that Priest will be a Silence Priest, as I think that's pretty much the only Priest that I have seen in the tournament, or in THL, SHL so far.
Yeah, Silence Priest definitely seems like it is the most popular Priest, but Dragon Priest has been gaining popularity. Our very own Animor, Tim from Tim's team, did bring Dragon Priest to the playoffs.
Excellent. So any other thoughts with this match going forward? I think Chaonic's, I'd like to say, I think Chaonic probably has the most flexible lineup, because there's an aggro and a sort of mid-range control Druid. There's a aggro to mid-range control Mage. There's a aggro to mid-range to even control variant Paladins. And of course, Warrior has both Taunt and Pirate, again, aggro and control.
Yeah, I would agree that Chaonic is probably a little bit favored just looking at these lineups. Of course, the downside of Priest is that while some of its decks, like Silence Priest, may be particularly strong against particular matchups, that the class overall is really just not that flexible. Both, Dragon Priest, Silence Priest, Miracle Priest, all those decks are generally weak to the same sort of thing.
All right. Well, it looks like Bitbeaker and Chaonic have gone into the match. So let's get into the match here.
Jaina versus Tyrande. You give me strength.
It's like, all right. So it looks like for Chaonic, actually, give me 2 seconds.
Yeah, so Chaonic, it looks like he is on Mage here, and Bitbeaker is on Priest. Just looking at Chaonic's hand, you can't really tell by this starting hand what exactly it is. The Pyroblast signifies that it is most likely Burn Mage, but some Secret Mages are running that as well.
Job's done.
Sorry about that interruption. Someone was ringing my doorbell. I need to go check that real quick.
Understandable. Bitbeaker's Priest here, I was going to mention earlier that Bitbeaker is known for bringing some off-meta decks, and I think we're seeing that now. He has Servant of Kalamos in his Priest deck, so this is some sort of tempo elemental Priest. Really interesting choice.
Interesting, and it looks like Chaonic here is, probably Discover Mage, I'm guessing, but I could be completely wrong on that. The Gluttonous Ooze is leaning me towards Discover Burn Mage here.
Yeah, I would say that the Gluttonous Ooze is a pretty good tell that he's going to be that Discover Mage. Chaonic here, just going to ping this Crystalline Oracle off. I think there aren't really any more options that you have. Luckily for him, he's going up against a pretty slow deck, so I think he's going to be fine with just playing that Arcane Intellect next turn to draw cards. But I do expect to see the ping here.
That's right. So, let's see. Yeah, I'm pretty certain this will just be ping here. Then, unfortunately, turn 2, I don't think he wants to toss out the Radiant Elemental without having something to back it up, at least, or something to do with it. So my guess is it might just be Hero Power Pass, depending on what his draw is.
Yeah. Also, I do want to mention that we're experiencing a small amount of technical difficulties in the stream right now. Chaotic is not just roping to BM, he's roping, so we can get those figured out, and it should be good now.
All right, excellent.
So Bitbeaker here, he can just play this Radiant Elemental for tempo. He doesn't really have anything great to discount unless he wants to coin out the Shadow Visions. Getting the 2-drop out is nice, but he might want to hold it here for more value because it does just die to a Frostbolt.
He could coin Shadow Visions, though. He did just pick up Shadow Visions. So he could Elemental, or he could just Shadow Visions by itself. This would be the other option.
Yeah, now if he holds this Radiant Elemental until turn 3, then he can play it on turn 3, play the Shadow Visions then, and then have a turn 4 coin Servant of Kalamos. But he chooses not to go for that line and just wants the immediate tempo of this Radiant Elemental right now.
Which, unfortunately for him, Chaotic is holding a Frostbolt, which I'm assuming the Radiant Elemental will eat that in about 2 seconds. And then probably just a pass turn after that.
Yeah, just take out the Radiant Elemental. It seems fine. You don't really want to let that thing stick around a turn. And this is why I would have liked for him to hold the Radiant Elemental, because now he's just going to have to pass on turn 3 and not have an activator for Servant of Kalamos in his hand. And
Bitbeaker not emoting with the healing the opponent there.
Yeah.
Just trying not to BM a little. I'm trying not to BM there, so. Alright, so it looks like Chaotic will just do the Arcane Intellect, and unfortunately for him, he draws the Arcane Knowledge just off that, but the problem is 2 of his 3 secrets are already in hand with 2 of the Ice Blocks. My guess is he probably has 1 Ice Barrier in there, but that would be about the extent of that.
Yeah, that's generally, we generally do see that 3 secret package from the Burn Mages. Bitbeaker is just going to get this 4/5 out onto the board. He doesn't discover an Elemental, but it's still a pretty nice board presence for him that will force an answer out from Chaotic.
It's like, and he also picked up Lyra the Sun Shard, but I don't think you want to toss that out unless you have something to back it up, like the Power Word Shield. So I think right now we're probably looking at a turn 6 Lyra with a Power Word Shield to go to pair with it.
I would say he wants to save that Lyra even more, and so he can get maybe 3 or 4 or even more spells off of it, or maybe even combo it with the second Radiant Elemental. Bitbeaker isn't really under any pressure from this mage right now, so I think he can afford to wait and get a little bit more value out of his cards.
Well, Chaotic's hand is a little bit awkward because he does have things to play out there, but they're all considerably smaller than that 4/5. He does play the Arcanologist and gets the Ice Barrier out. I guess he could. He is
just going to Barrier here, and I think it's fine to play the Barrier before the Ice Block here, because he will likely get that heal pretty soon, especially if Bitbeaker chooses to use the Shadow of Pain, not just take the trade and heal.
It's like, so Bitbeaker, after Shadow Wording Pain, my guess is he will probably... I don't think he can actually do anything else here, so my guess is he will probably... actually, he's going to Power Word Shield, so he can't draw here.
So I'm really surprised by this play from Bitbeaker. I don't think the Shadow Word Pain was necessary to play at all. He could have just traded in and healed. And if he had played the Power Word Shield first, he would have picked up the Northshire and would have been able to get a draw from healing. So a little bit of missequencing there. Bitbeaker not drawing first ends up costing him a card.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's see. It looks like Chaotic may go with the Ice Block here. I'm wondering... I mean, I think you definitely have to kill that Northshire Cleric. You can't let that sit around here. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Mana Worm, Ice Block. No, actually, that doesn't work.
Yeah, he could go for Mana Worm, Ice Block, and Frostbolt. He's just going to pass here, though. he has no way of dealing with this 4/7 right now, and it's these high health minions that are really hard for the Brim Mage to deal with. And it's a reason why Priest in general, such as Dragon Priest and I believe Silence Priest as well, has a good matchup against Brim Mage.
All right, so for Bitbeaker here, I mean, I'm assuming he's going to push face on both these. He was checking for Vaporize by sending in the Northshire Cleric first, but yeah, he actually doesn't have a whole lot of other stuff that he can do at the moment. So just heal up and get back where he was. Now, can take care of that 4/7 if he wishes. Actually, he can play. Actually, I probably wouldn't toss the Mana Worm out there because it'll allow a heal on the. Actually, he's gonna Firelance portal the Northshire Cleric, and he does get Harrison Jones off of it. But fortunately, Harrison Jones will just die to the Servant of Calamos here.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the benefit of playing Portal there is over just Fireball pinging the 4/7, especially when you know you're going to give your opponent a really good trade. It is more mana efficient, but I'm not sure that matters that much. There's even merit to saving the Portal because you have the Deep in hand. So that's another questionable play.
Well, Bitbeaker Shadow Visions, he does get the Shadow Ward Death, so he'll be able to kill the Harrison Jones now. And we'll just push 4 to the face.
Again, I'm not sure why he played the Shadow Word Death there, because he could have just traded and taken the heal. You know that your opponent is playing the Div and Alexstrasza, and those are cards that you really need a Shadow Word Death for. So that's sort of similar to the Shadow Word Pain he played earlier. Bitbeaker is playing removal spells where he could just be taking trades with the minion that he has on the board and healing.
Well, Bitbeaker did pick up an interesting option. He does have Tar Creeper, so I mean, at the very least, that means that he would not be able to swing face with the 7/7. But I don't know if it's like, I mean, honestly, he doesn't have a whole lot of better options either. It's like, because he needs an elemental to play the Tolvir Stone Shaper. Probably doesn't want to toss Lyra out there just to be killed by Medivh. So my guess is this might be a Tar Creeper turn.
Yeah, Bitbeaker drew both his Power Word Shields, but he used them both on the Servant of Calamos, so there isn't really a good cheap activator for Lyra right now. Shadow Word Pain doesn't hit anything, and he can't Potion of Madness anything either. So yeah, I agree. I think he just has to play the Tar Creeper here.
And actually, he is going to play the Tolvir Stone Shaper. I mean, his only other elemental he is holding is Lyra at this point. So, all right. So for Chaotic, there's a couple of options here. Actually, he's going face with this Alexstrasza.
I really like this.
Yeah.
You know your opponent isn't going to pressure you. I mean, it is an Elemental Priest. So go ahead and put the Alex on the board, deal 15 damage to your opponent, and I think you have a pretty good read that Bitbeaker does not have a Shadow Word Death in his hand because he didn't kill that Medivh off. So he shouldn't have an answer to this Alex either. He
should not. It's like, I think probably the closest thing would be put both his creatures into Alex and use the Fireplane Phoenix to finish it off, but that's not really the best use of his resources, but it looks like he is going to go that route with this.
Yeah.
Actually, sorry. Oh, he can do even better. He can Holy Nova and kill off both creatures at once. So actually, he does have a board clear here.
Yeah, so this is really nice for Bitbeaker to finally get this board clear, but he does use up a decent amount of his resources here. And Chaotic, meanwhile, still has 3 full charges on his ET-ish.
You want to cast a spell?
So he'll draw first with Battling Book. It's not the most impressive spell, but he's going to Primordial Glyph here. And wow, those are really tough options for him right now.
Yeah, Chaotic really doesn't want any of these right now. He might just take Shatter because his only good hard removal in hand right now is Fireball, and he wants to save that for the face. And it can combo well with Frostbolt. He takes Arcane Explosion, and I don't really think that's going to end up being good, unless he does it now with Blood Mage Thalnos to kill off one of these 3 health minions.
Well, he can kill it. He can do that. And he can put the... Unfortunately, he's going to get a 0/0, so this is probably going to be a Wisp.
Yeah. So the downside of taking the explosion here and playing it now is that he doesn't get any good value out of his Medivh's weapon.
Actually, got horrible value out of everything. The only thing he got that was even remotely reasonable is probably the giant wasp, and that's just because he can kill something.
I'm sort of surprised he didn't choose to just ping there also to like kill the 4-1 off. Now he's very susceptible to board clear. I actually think Chaotic. I think there were different lines that he could have taken there. I'll just say that.
Yeah, I definitely think so. It's like, yeah, because this board's gonna get wiped pretty easily now, and he'll get the card draw off of Blood Mage Thalamus now. And now he has a Shadow Vision, so if you'd like to see if you can find something else in his deck, you got Shadow Word Pain and Shadow Madness. So actually, yeah, he can. I mean, unfortunately for him, the Lyra is dead. There's no way to, unless this is a taunt.
So I am a little bit surprised to see him play Forbidden Shaping, though. I think I would have liked to see him Shadow Vision first, and then just Forbidden Shaping. And even though you only get a 0 mana minion, it would have been another spell for Lyra.
He's actually wanting to take that taunt. I don't know. Okay, I guess I could see what he's doing here. It's like he's going to use the Potion of Madness and Medivh's Valet to kill off Lyra, and then the Gluttonous Ooze will come down. I'm assuming Medivh is not in this priest deck.
Yeah.
Also, he's probably gonna hold off that giant wasp. Nope, actually, he'll just go face with it.
Interesting. That does open it up into dying to Shadow Madness here, and Chaotic, even though he is ahead on the board right now and has Burn in hand, he doesn't have his Medivh anymore. He doesn't have his Alex. So he's used a lot of his finishers right now, and he's really going to need to rely on drawing a Pyroblast or that second Firelands portal or second Fireball to have the damage necessary to close out this game.
Yeah, it's like, this is a very tough spot for him right now. And now, especially considering Bitbeaker actually has a Pyroblast in his hand, so if he gets down to 10, then he will be able, well, actually he has an Ice Blast, so he has to take that into account as well, but he does. Bitbeaker actually has a decent amount of burn in his hand right now.
Right. Chaotic here, just going to play the Mana Worm and Ping, which is probably the best that he can do. He wants to save this Fireball for damage to the face, which is definitely reasonable from his position.
So right now he's holding 6-9. So another Frostbolt, or has he played both Medivh's Valets, or has he only played one so far?
I believe he's only played one so far, so yeah, he should still have a second Medivh's Valet in his deck, which would be a valuable source of extra damage.
It's like, well, Bitbeaker's going to heal, so even that line would not be lethal. I think it would have to be the second Fireball at this point.
Yes, that's correct. A second Fireball off the top right now would do it. Archaeologist here is probably the last card he wanted to see because it most likely does not even draw a Seeker from his deck. Yes, okay, so yeah, we've confirmed that Chaotic is only running the double block and the one barrier, so he can't really do much here, unfortunately. And I think he's still going to choose to hold on to this burn here rather than take out any of the minions on the board.
Yeah, I definitely think so. Well, Bitbeaker just did pick up Radiant Elemental, and he is holding an Arcane Inlet that he got off of the Crystalline Oracle, so he could have a 2-mana draw 2 here, or Shadow Visions as well.
Okay, so Shadow Visions does show us that he only has 2 spells left in his deck, only has Shadow Word Pain and Potion of Madness. So that makes me wonder what else is in his deck.
Well, there's an Elise. So, I mean, he could toss the Elise down, or he could use the Fire Plume Phoenix to finish off one of these 2 creatures.
I think his priority right now is definitely to heal his face, so I would like to see him just heal here and then play the Talon Priest.
He's gonna actually.
Okay, so he's gonna Fire Plume here to guarantee the kill on the 2/1. So that is as good as healing. It's actually better than healing your face because you still prevent 2 damage.
So Chaotic has Cone of Cold here. He can freeze 3 of these minions. Unfortunately, he's still off on lethal. He still is needing a second Fireball, or actually, well, no, even a Medivh's Valet now doesn't actually finish this off. I don't think.
No, it does not, assuming that the Bitbeaker does heal his face this turn. So the nice thing is that Bitbeaker does have the guaranteed Ungrow pack from Shadow Visions.
Yes, he does.
And so I think he is going to pick it up and play it this turn. He's definitely looking to get some heal or armor gain from this pack.
Well, he did pick up some nice stuff here. He got a Primordial Drake, an Arcanologist, which doesn't help him. He got a Razor Petal Lasher for... But he also has Volcano, which could... Alright, let's see. Where does this put us on the burn plan? Let's see. It's 5 damage, 8,
So
14.
Yeah, so Chaotic can go Firelands Portal and ping this turn and put his opponent to 8, and then next turn he'll be able to deal 10. So if Bitbeaker does not pick up any more heal besides his hero power, this is going to be lethal next turn.
Oh, that's not the best... Well, I guess it is something that has to be answered, so it's at least that, but... Like... That's not great. I mean, it'll be able to throw the Lees and the Radiant Elemental into it and kill it with no issue.
So we can see that Bitbeaker actually doesn't have any way to survive next turn, but he does have a secret in his hand. So I think he's going to have to play that Mana Bind and try to bluff that it's Ice Block.
I don't think he can bluff his Ice Block though. That came from the Angoro pack. So if Chaotic's been paying attention, he knows that's not Ice Block.
That's right. That's true. If Chaotic were to think about it a little bit more, he would realize that it is an Ice Block. But, you know, there's always the chance that you can fool your opponent.
Interestingly enough, he could, Bitbeaker with the Power Blast, he could have broken this block this turn if you would just toss everything else into face and then use Power Blast to...
Well, he can... let's see. Oh, that only adds 1 Razor Petal to his hand, so he is going to be one-off popping the block. Yeah, but he does go ahead and play the Mana Bind here, so maybe Chaotic will try to play around it somehow. I doubt it.
Let's see. Well, the Cabal Courier is there. Huh? At least now that gives Bitbeaker another piece of burn to try to finish the game out.
Yeah, I mean, there is no real chance that it would work. But
no, it's not. So, all right. So Chaotic will take game 1 with the Discover Burn Mage, and now that that one is out of the way, and Priest is gone, the Shaman was banned. So, do you go with the Mage or the Paladin here? It looks like, I mean, the Mage could considerably be a mirror. Paladin could also be, you know, anything from Murloc to Control.
Yeah, I would assume that Bitbeaker goes with the Paladin over the Mage here. I think both Murloc, Paladin, and Midrange. I actually think all 3 meta decks of Paladin right now are favored over Mage, especially if he's running some of the heavier versions of cards like Bragg Light Lord, or even Ivory Knight.
Well, Bitbeaker has decided to go into the Mage Mirror here. And this, I'm trying to see from Bitbeaker's hand, this might be Secret Mage, but it could also be... No, it's Secret Mage. All right, so we saw the Kirin Tor Mage come to hand, so this is definitely Secret Mage here. I think Secret Mage is slightly favored against the Discover Burn Mage here, but it's close.
Yeah, definitely a close matchup, but I agree. I think the Secret Mage is a slight favorite. You can just get those really strong starting hands, especially with cards like Kirin Tor Mage and Sorcerer's Apprentice, which Bitbeaker does have in hand right now.
Whoa! Something just interesting came to Bitbeaker's hand. That is a Kazakus.
Oh, wow, okay. So, looks like this is actually Kazakus Mage and not Secrets Mage.
So, this could get very, very interesting here. So we know he's not running more than one of any of his secrets. But what does that mean for this matchup? Is like he has Primordial Glyph, so he can technically get more secrets from that if you would like. But Chaos just going to Frostbolt this Sorcerer's Apprentice down here, and looks like he'll pass the turn.
Yeah, unfortunately my spectator got bugged out, so
okay.
I'm trying to get back in the game.
No, not a problem. So Bitbeaker drew Frostbolt for turn. He doesn't have a secret, so he can't play the Kirin Tor Mage, but he could Primordial Glyph just to see what he gets and then push 2 to face. Or he could just play the Kirin Tor Mage for value and push 1 with the Mana Worm. Now, Chaotic has Arcanologist. He will draw his Ice Block from the deck, so he has 2 of his Ice Blocks in hand. He'll also play Babbling Book to get something. He gets a Cone of Cold out of that, which is not the worst pickup. Now, the real question is, I don't think he will drop that Kazakus yet, so my guess is he will probably play the Arcane Intellect.
Yeah, so I'm wondering if he isn't dropping the Kazakus now.
Whoa!
What
wait a
is
minute.
he saving it for? Oh wow, yeah, that's a second Primordial Glyph. So it would not have even been activated in Beaker's hand.
My guess is if there are 2 duplicates of a card, I'm hoping that's the only one. I'm hoping.
I mean, Kazakus Mage isn't like a deck that I'm familiar with the list of, but if it existed, I'm assuming that you would only be running one ofs. Yeah, very interesting choice from the Beaker here.
All right, so he does get a secret here. He actually gets the choice of 2 secrets, but he also has a Fireball here that might just end up going face. So I wouldn't be surprised if he picks... Well, he does this as Burn Mage, so chances are there's not a whole lot of creatures, and Ice Barrier probably will not be that helpful. So maybe just the Fireball.
I really like the Fireball here. Beaker disagrees and goes with the Potion of Polymorph. It can be useful in hitting a Medivh or Alexstrasza down the line, but it's a lot more likely it's just going to get procced by like a Mana Worm or a Babbling Book. And it most likely will be now, so the secret essentially does nothing. That is, if he had played it that turn, and he's choosing to hold it.
All right, so Battlewood gets another Frostbolt, and actually, yeah, he's just going to Frostbolt down this Mana Worm here and probably ping the face. Oh, actually, no, he'll just do Vaporize, which is also interesting because my guess is in a Kazakus Mage deck, there's probably not a lot of burn. Okay, he got one of the Frostbolts off of something, didn't he? This is not the second Frostbolt as well,
Are you sure?
Right?
No, I
don't
think
know.
That actually is the second Frostbolt, although I honestly forgot.
I sort of forgot too, but no, because he played the first Primordial Glyph, so that's the only card that he's gotten from his deck so far. So yeah, so he is running 2 Frostbolts, 2 Primordial Glyphs, and a Kazakus. This may be the oddest thing I have seen in quite some time.
He's memeing for the stream, I guess.
Yep. So, Chaotic's probably asking right now, what in the world is going on with this deck? But...
Well, he doesn't know it's Kazakus Mage yet. I think he just assumes that it's a secret mage with a poor draw. Going with the Gluttonous Ooze here. Actually, wait, does he have anything that tells him that Beaker is not running Burn Mage or Secret Mage?
No.
No, so I'm not sure if playing the Gluttonous Ooze there is correct, because there are some Secret Mage lists that are playing Medivh.
Correct, and so yeah, that probably was not the best option at that point.
You are on fire.
Beaker is trying to throw Burn to the face here. Chaotic does pick up a Meteor, but I don't think this is the target you want for Meteor here.
No, I think Chaotic's probably just going to coin first to play around Counterspell. Although he does know, if he's looking closely at the mana, that is not a natural card in Beaker's deck. So he might feel less inclined to play around that Counterspell because it's pretty unlikely. And he does play the Thalnos here, which gets hit by the Potion of Polymorph. It denies a draw, but I think you're a lot happier that your Thalnos gets hit than your Medivh or your Alexstrasza.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree there. So, all right, so he's going to Hero Power. I think part of me thinks if you're going to do that, just Cone of Cold it and wait a turn. But, all right, so Beaker did pick up Kabbalist Tome, so he could Kabbalist Tome here, see what he gets, and then Hero Power and ping down the sheet. And he got another Potion of Polymorph and a Molten Reflection.
Wow. I don't know what kind of top end that Beaker is running, so I'm not sure what that Molten Reflection can hit. But second Potion of Polymorph and Frostbolt are actually some pretty good pickups right now. Chaotic is running out of small things to proc this potion with.
Well, Chaotic, he could... he's going to check for Counterspell. He'll find out that is not the case. And then he can Firelance Portal, and he gets... Oh, Hello, Direhorn Hatchling. So
Wow, Direhorn Hatchling is really nice pickup there, actually.
that's a really nice pickup actually against his deck here. So he does have an Arcanologist, so he could Arcanologist and get. Who knows what secret will come out of this? I'm giving up on this. All right, so
yeah,
you have
it's becoming really hard to predict Beaker's deck at this point. Yeah, I guess he's just gonna glyph here. His hand is basically just all removal and Kazakis, so you may as well just spend 2 mana playing glyph. See what you.
I'm gonna say, and poor Chaotic, he's gonna get so confused here in a moment because Bitbeaker's about to play the second Primordial Glyph, and he's gonna think, oh, okay, well this is definitely then just Secret Mage of some sort. And then whenever Bitbeaker decides he wants to drop the Kazakas, he's gonna be like, wait, what in the world just happened here?
Yeah, the Kazakas is definitely gonna be a surprise. Firelands Portal is a really nice pickup off of this glyph. It's just the most value, which is exactly what you want in a matchup like this.
All right, so it looks like Bitbeaker wants to drop that counterspell. So my guess is counterspell, ping face, or ping creature. Or actually, yeah, ping creature set up for the Firelands Portal for next turn.
Yep, I like this. Chaotic picks up a Courier off the top, and he can get some really nice things from this. None of these are particularly appealing, though.
Yeah, it's like Kirantor Mage is not terrible, I guess, after the ice block is popped. You can't really use the secret in his hand right now for that, but maybe further down the line. Or he could just toss it out right now as a 4/3 and kill the Arcanologist with Direhorn Hatchling.
Yeah, he could. That plays a little bit into like a Flame Strike, and you really want to deny the value that your opponent gets from these cards. But he might just end up playing it. I mean, there isn't really going to be a great time to play it. He's deciding whether or not to trade or go face here, and I definitely think you trade just because you're so weak to Firelands Portal if you don't.
Yeah, it's like, definitely don't think going face is the option here, because for some reason he has to think he did ping him down the turn before to 5. So chances are Firelands Portal is coming out either way here. Oh, so and there's Alex.
Yeah, that's a huge pickup for Bitbeaker here, and now I'm actually seeing that he has a way to win this game. Alex Straza plus a lot of burn in hand. And honestly, I don't really see why he wouldn't just play it this turn with the amount of burn he has in hand right now.
Oh, here we go, and now Chaotic is completely confused. This is like...
So Bitbeaker was running a deck of 1-ofs, but with 2 Frostbolts and 2 Primordial Glyphs. That's interesting.
We're assuming just that. Is like if there's a 1 copy of anything else in his deck, and he has 1 in hand, then that would trigger Kazakis as well. So we're assuming that's it. For all we know, he could be running a second Pyroblast.
Oh yeah, that's actually a really good point. Yeah, we really don't know what he has in his deck. Transforming all minions into 1/1 sheep and dealing 8 damage. That's not. I don't think that's what I would have picked.
No,
you definitely got the option to summon 3 minions, and that, especially after an Alex Straza, can be a lot better.
Well, Courier number 2 is here, and honestly, I'm liking the look of that Polymorph. Knowing what's left in his deck. I do have Renounced Darkness.
Yeah, no, I agree. Polymorph seems pretty strong here because you have to expect some sort of late game threats from Bitbeaker like Alex Straza or Medivh.
So, and if he knew that from the Kabbalist Tome that he also picked up a Molten Reflection, I think he would snap that Polymorph. But yeah, he's going to go ahead and take it now. So, all right, and then he's just going to ping Kazakis down, and I don't know about the Kirantor Mage, because that's just going to get killed by the Kazakis for free here, but...
Yeah, I'm not really sure why he chose to play the Kirantor now. It means his 2/2 will stay alive, but I'm not sure that's that important. Alex Straza still seems really good here to me. Just kill the Kirantor off, hit your opponent in the face for 6, and get an 8/8 on the board.
Yep, really and just looking at the burn from hand right now, I mean, he has to assume that. I think he's already seen the Ice Barrier, so he has to assume that is an ice block at this point. Well, hello, Finja. Unfortunately, there's no. I say there's no Murlocs in his deck. For all I know, who knows? There might be a Murloc in the deck. Maybe cold light, or maybe there's a cold light oracle in there or something. But it's like, yeah. So, all right. So we have Chaotix. He just push face. I don't know if there's anything else. I mean, he could technically Flame Strike, but are you really worried about? Okay, I guess he is.
So yeah, I mean, you're not really worried about Murlocs coming out, but I don't think that in this matchup, Flame Strike gets that much better. Unless your opponent really builds up a good board with Medivh, you may as well just Flame Strike now and prevent your Cabal Courier from just dying for free.
Well, it's like Bitbeater picked up Archmage Antonidas, and we'll be able to get a free Fireball off of this. Unfortunately, it will not last long, because I'm assuming this will probably be just a Fireball. Actually, he's going to Polymorph. I think I prefer the ping there.
Fireball ping there. It does save the Polymorph from Alexstrasza, because Alexstrasza won't be able to die for the Fireball, but with the Meteor already in hand for hard removal of another big minion, I think it's okay to do this and save your Fireballs for face damage.
All right, so Bitbeaker has Burgly Bully. Unfortunately, his Archmage Antonidas is already died, so he won't get a lot of value off that. But and then he'll just can Fireball again. So I believe, as of right now, Bitbeaker will be able to block, pop the block next turn with either the Kazakus Potion or Pyroblast. Then Chaotix has a second Ice Block. He can pop it with the other burn spell that he has in hand, whichever one he decides not to use. And then he just has to hope for a third point of burn somewhere? Or a third thing of burn?
Yeah, and it's important to note that the secret Bitbeaker has up is Mirror Entity. It is not Ice Block, which Chaotix is probably predicting at this point. And so his only way to heal right now is going to be defensively Alexing himself, and he may be in a situation where he can't afford to do that because he has to try to pressure his opponent and pop on the same turn. But as of now, it is actually looking really good for Bitbeaker, because this second block is going to be able to get the pops immediately.
I would say, I think I need to take a moment to point out that Bitbeaker drew another Arcanologist. This is the number 2 Arcanologist for him in this game as well. So he's running two Arcanologists, 2 Primordial Glyphs, and has he already played a Medivh Valet? I thought he has.
I think that. Oh wait, yeah. I mean, he has one on the board right now, so that's also his second Valet. So I think the better question is, what one-ofs is Bitbeaker running in his Kazakus mage?
All right, so we're assuming Alexstrasza and Archmage Antonidas and Kazakus. We at least know 3. So, okay, that's an interesting secret there. So Spellbinder, well, actually that has to go to a creature, so that probably will not do anything, because I'm assuming most of the burn from this point on in the game will be going to the face.
Yeah, so this is sort of the situation I was alluding to earlier. Bitbeaker's in a situation where he feels like he has to clear the board to not die next turn, and because of that, he misses out on popping Chaotix. So Chaotix can just finish this game off in a couple turns, I think. In fact, does he have... He just has 2-turn lethal, no matter what he gets off of Glyph.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, because he can... Yeah, he can Fireball, and then... Yeah, actually, yeah. So, I mean, we know what that secret is. He does not know what that secret is. But we know that unless... Since Bitbeaker knows... I'm assuming he has to defensive Alexstrasza here, correct?
I think he would defensive Alexstrasza, but yeah, because he is popping the Ice Barrier here by attacking with his minions, he won't be able to pop Chaotix block, unless he does go for the Pyroblast, but we do see the defensive Alex here. Okay,
so it keeps him alive for a little bit longer at least, and honestly right now, Chaotix doesn't have a good answer to this Alexstrasza in hand. He would have to Fireball and throw the Medivh Valet into it.
Yeah, I think Chaotix's only hope of winning here is just top decking Pyroblast, but he's going to get a lot of chances to do it. He is getting down to the very last cards of his deck, and AI is going to let him dig even more.
Well, there's the Direhorn matriarch from the Direhorn hatchling earlier in the game. So theoretically, that could hold him for maybe a turn or two. And he agrees, so he's going to toss down the Direhorn matriarch. He can also ping face if he would like here.
So this sometimes saves him, but Bitbeaker only needs 2 more damage. From Chaotic's perspective, Bitbeaker only needs 2 more damage to pop the block. And once that second block is popped, Chaotic is... he basically doesn't have any chance to win because he can't really... Yeah, I mean, he'll just lose once his block is popped, I think, so...
Alright, so Bitbeaker picked up Cabal Crystal Runner, good just 0 mana 5/5. I mean, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if he just Power Blast the face right now and just... Or the other option would be Molten Reflection his Alexstrasza and get another 8/8 on the dot. Oh, actually, he's thinking Power Blast the Matriarch here. Keep his creature alive.
That's interesting. So
yeah.
With this line, he ends up only popping Chaotic at 6, and he doesn't actually have any burn in hand, but as long as there isn't some random third ice block, Bitbeaker should be okay here.
I think he's gonna be fine. Yeah, that Mana Worm does not help at all. I mean, he can play out his hand here, but he can play the counterspell and make him think that this may have been from something else, because this was not naturally in Chaotic's deck. So he could do that, but I don't think that's going to prevent Bitbeaker from going face and killing him here.
Yeah, I agree.
Oh, I forgot about that Spellbinder. It's like, oops.
Yeah, that's definitely a surprise to Chaotic.
That'll seal it. Yep. So Bitbeaker with his, I don't even know what to call this mage.
Autofill mage.
It's like, well, when. So Chaotic, besides wondering what the hell just happened, what deck does he go into from here? It's like.
I mean, I would say that most decks have a chance of beating that, but like the only card that was really out of place that we saw was that Kazakus.
Yeah.
I mean, he's running like a lot of Burn Mage cards, and then cards like Mirror Entity and Kirin that are usually only seen in Secret Mage, but those aren't really bad cards to run. Mage is just in a position where its class cards are so powerful right now that you can just sort of throw together its good class cards and throw Kazakus in there and have a pretty decent deck.
I guess it just depends. If the warrior is Pirate Warrior, I'm assuming that might be the route that Chaotic goes. It's just something like the most aggressive deck that you can possibly think of to go against this. But
yeah,
Chaotic is going to go with Warrior.
Yeah, I would agree that aggro decks are going to be good against it, and I would guess that Jade Druid would also be favored if Chaotic is running that.
Well, it's like, Chaotic does choose Warrior, and as we can see here, it is a Pirate Warrior. I don't know why he did not toss back. It seems like a very top-heavy hand for Pirate Warrior. And by top-heavy, I mean like 3s and 4s.
It is. I want to point out that Bitbeaker is running 2 Sorcerer's Apprentices. Got to keep track of those 2 ofs in his Kazakus mage.
Oh my gosh!
So
what the hell?
This is a heavy hand for Chaotic to keep, but it's actually pretty nice because he has this really good curve of Coin War Axe into Raider into Bloodsail Cultist. So I actually don't really disagree with his keep there.
No, it's actually a decent keep, especially with the coin. I forgot he did have the coin to help with this, but yeah, he'll be able to kill the Sorcerer's Apprentice, and Patches will come out of the deck and go face.
Yep, and I don't think Bitbeaker has any way to clear both pirates off of the board right now, so that means the Bloodsail Cultist will get procced next turn.
Correct. It's like, yeah, he can Sorcerer's Apprentice and do a 1-mana Frostbolt to kill the Bloodsail Raider, but...
So you can either go Sorcerer's Apprentice or Mana Worm there. I think I would have liked to see the Mana Worm instead, actually, because Sorcerer's Apprentice has a lot more value as the game goes on. Mana Worm is not going to be that good later in the game.
All right, so Chaotic, he does play the Bloodsail Cultist and gets the +1/+1 on his weapon. And well, hello. All right, that's a him at Jungle Hunter there. So I guess that's one. You know what? I wonder if all the cards that he had duplicates of are less than 3.
Yes. Okay. So now the deck does come together. He is. Yeah, that is the strategy. He's trying to use Hemet and then get that Kazakus proc. Yeah, that's a unique strategy.
Very unique strategy. It's like now that I see the him, it's like, okay, this at least makes somewhat sense, I guess, is probably the best way to describe it. I wouldn't say perfect sense, but
yeah, I can see what he was going for, as opposed to before, where we just didn't understand why he was playing duplicates at all.
All right, so Bitbeaker has Primordial Glyph. Honestly, he's on 4 mana. Either any of those are good, but yeah, I guess the Ice Block against the aggro deck would not be a terrible option here.
Ice Block is good. I think I'd like to see him play Arcane Intellect this turn, though, rather than the Ice Block.
Yeah,
he'll be able to fit the 1 mana Ice Block in future turns.
All right, so this looks like a good turn for Arcanite Reaper, in my opinion. And then next turn he has to upgrade and push even more to face. Actually, yeah, if Beatbeaker does not play that Ice Block, he is dead.
Yeah, this is just a great hand for the Pirate Warrior to have in this position. It's just basically all burn. Unfortunately for Bitbeaker, Reno has rotated out, so he will not have access to that form of healing. It is looking pretty bleak. We know that Kazakus is. I'm pretty sure we know that Kazakus is not activated yet.
No, I mean he can him it and wipe out the lower half of his deck, but I don't think that helps. But yeah, it looks like he's gonna go Karen Tormage and just play a 1 mana Ice Block here, and then maybe even just okay, I see what he's doing here because he wants to play the more expensive secret with. Or actually, he may just.
Okay. He could either do that or he could just Fireball. This play just leaves his block popped on the board.
At 1.
So maybe Fireball is better, but I mean, realistically, it's really hard for Bitbeaker to win this game with the amount of damage that we see Chaotic has in hand.
Yeah, actually, if he wants to, he can even put the Bloodcell Cultist into the Karen Tormage, but I think he'd much rather just put him down to 1 and see if that is a block or if it's a... Okay, so he knows it's not Counterspell, so...
Yeah, I think this is fine. Just putting your opponent to 1 here. You don't really have any... The Kieran Tor doesn't really present that much of a threat right now because you're still at 26 health. And your opponent does not have that many cards in hand.
And he has to kill both these creatures here. But, I mean, it doesn't matter. It's like... Leroy. Oh, there we go. There's Hemet. And how much of his deck did that wipe out? All but 7 cards.
So, all right. Well, that was fun. We finally got to see Bitbeaker's deck come together, but unfortunately, he does take the loss there. So he's going to be forced to go to his Paladin now.
Correct. Yes, this is his last deck. Is his Paladin deck. Actually, all the Paladins up against the Pirate Warrior are okay, I'm assuming, except maybe the Murloc Paladin? But it'll be interesting to see what Paladin this is. Alright, so Dragon Paladin? Yep, this is Dragon Paladin, folks. We see a Brickworm and a Twilight Drake here.
So... Wait, Bitbeaker banned Chaotic's Paladin, didn't he?
Bitbeaker banned the Paladin.
So why is he running Hungry Crab?
I have no clue. My guess is he might have a little bit of both of them. It's like, I wouldn't be surprised to see a what is it? Galactic Crawler in here as well.
Might just be putting all the tech in. This is going to be a pretty easy clear for Chaotic here, and it lines up really nicely with the South Sea next turn. Bitbeaker doesn't have an answer to these minions on board, so he just has to coin Stonehill, and I guess he's hoping to find another cheap taunt, or Sunkeeper Terram.
Sunkeeper Terram is interesting. Unfortunately, at the rate that Chaotic is going, he may be dead before turn 6. South Sea Captain can let the Blood Cell Raider easily trade in there and then just continue pushing face. Alright, so turn 3, he has literal no play except hero power.
Oh god. I'm wondering if there's any ever merit to picking the Dread Corsair instead, and then hoping that you draw Rallying Blade or True Silver and can play that on the same turn. Because I don't think that Beaker is making it to turn 6.
I don't think he is either. Not at this rate. Because next turn will be Fiery War Axe, Blood Cell Cultist. For 4, 9, 12. Actually, he's dead. Yeah, he's just dead. It's like,
Yep.
that was quick. So, very interesting decks for Beaker, including the Hemmet, have multiples in your deck, but it doesn't matter because they're all less than 3. Kazakus Mage, as well as Dragon Paladin. So that match was very interesting, but Chaotic will take this 3-1. And I believe with that puts the Doghouse ahead overall. Because Doghouse came into this with 4 points, so they will get an additional 8. No, sorry, additional 4. So they'll go up to 8. And then MojoPowell won his. So it's going to be like 8 to 6.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Or 8 to 7. 8 to 7 right now.
Yeah, 8 to 7, definitely. Still a close game here. Nice to see that both of these teams pick up one win each in the series tonight.
Yeah. So, this contest will come down to the Anarchists versus Vegan Zombie and Gemophilus versus the Town Drunk. In the 4 and 5 seeds. So it is such a close matchup. I guess we can talk about the rest of this matchup. Any favorites, one way or the other? You think?
Let's see. I think I'm gonna say that Explosive Sheep is the favorite here. I'm biased because I played for them last season, and also 2 of their players are on my THL team. Vegan Zombie, I know he didn't have the best season last season when I played with him, but he was on the SHL championship winning team with Explosive Sheep, so I think he can pull it out over the Anarchist. And I definitely give Donnie the favorite over Jim Phylos as well. I think Donnie's just a great guy. He's really just a workhorse. He's just willing to put that work in each week, playing his matches and getting better. So yeah, I think he's probably going to win that.
I'm gonna say, actually, sorry, I'm just looking back in previous weeks here because I think Vegan Zombie has been struggling. The 2 weeks prior to this, both of his games were sweeps. One was swept by me, and the other was swept by Comp.
Oh, damn. Well,
yeah, and so
Vegan Zombie for him.
Vegan Zombie might be in a little bit of a slump right now. So I'm still probably going to give this to Explosive Sheep, but it's going to be. I think they'll each take an additional game. I wouldn't be surprised maybe if Town Drunk gets enough points to go ahead and close this out. So, but I don't know. It'll be close. It's like actually, screw it. I'm gonna say the Doghouse. I think the Doghouse. I think Vegan Zombie's struggling, and I think even if the Town Drunk picks up a win, that would be 3-2, and I believe that would be sufficient to win the week. So, and I'll go with the Doghouse here. I think so.
Okay, yeah, that seems fair.
So, but so that was our last match for the evening. I guess are there any final thoughts for tonight in terms of the matches? I think Beaker definitely gave us a show with a few decks there.
I think it was fun to see those decks, even though they may not be the most competitive. It was a lot of fun to cast. I think pretty good play from both series tonight. There are a couple of things I noticed that I would have done differently, but yeah, thanks to everyone for being on the stream.
Yeah, excellent. So yeah, same here. I think very well played matches tonight. It'll be very interesting to see where this match goes for the final 2 matches. But we are out of here for this evening. So everybody enjoy your Memorial Day tomorrow if you're off work, hopefully. So until next Sunday, goodbye.